Good evening, race fans, and welcome to Nashville, Tennessee for the Nashville 200 here in the Elite Belly Up Sports Cup Series in the first round of the round of 10 for our Belly Up Sports playoffs here to determine the championship for this 2025 B season. My name is David Westergreen here on the Elite Racing Network. I will be joined by Zach Evans and David Huckleberry this week. I'm back in the booth after being on track for a little bit last week, guys, and I'm excited to be here. Zach, you already told me tonight this is one of your favorite tracks. Take me through what you anticipate should be a great race tonight.
I love Nashville Superspeedway. It looks like an intermediate at a mile and a third when you look at it from above with the tri-oval shape. But you've got the concrete, the rough racing surface, a pretty narrow racing groove, and deceptively long straights that lead into deceptively sharp short corners. You kind of have to race it like a short track, and I just love this place. I think we're going to see a good race tonight because of it.
I'm with you. I love Nashville, one of my favorite racetracks on the sim. It really does have that feel of being a driver's racetrack, wears the tires and forces you to make really, really good decisions for your race over the course of a run versus being aggressive early. And I think we love that. Quick look at the championship standings. Jonathan Cutlip will start this round from first overall. We'll continually bring this up as we mention it tonight, but here is your first look here. Obviously, a win locks you into the final four. So those guys at the top that have won races this season are certainly going to be looking to make their mark on that final four here tonight. And we'll shift over to the starting grid with this new graphics package tonight. Exciting to go into it, but on pole for this race will be Tyler Fody in the Lake Norman Chevrolet. Alongside him is Blake Reynolds. Then you've got Ethan Stanley and David Tooker here in row 2. Trey Holmes and Tate Lytle in row 3. In row 4, you'll have Corey Abbott, Kachow, and Justin Wadsworth, the 2024 B champion. Row 5, it's Ryan Gable and Matthew Weeks. And row 6, it'll be Scott Crump and Jonathan Cutlip.
From there, he's already locked up Rookie of the Year, Daniel Gore, starting 13th. Gavin Higgins will line up beside him in 14th. On the 8th row, Johnny Thomas will line up beside Garrison Hogan. Chad Frankenfield, Ethan Burrell on the 9th row. Burrell, a former winner here at the Nashville Superspeedway. On row 10, Jaden Racimus will line up alongside Frank Fody. Starting 21st will be Justin Vandermeer. Brent Jones will start in the 22nd position. And on row 12, Michael Hossack and Gerald Campbell.
Starting in 25th will be Carlos Acosta. Alongside him will be Seth Rawls, the Daytona winner. Gilberto Javier there in 27th, alongside Michael Goodman in 28th. Sean Judson will start 29th for Covered Bridge. 30th will be Josh Adams for Shift Esports. 31st will be Mark Urbilis. Kurt Gibson will start 32nd tonight. Ty McIntosh will roll from 33rd. Jeff Green will go from 34th, the 2000 Busch Series champion. And I think that's everybody on the grid. Thought we had one more. I think Harrison Talon is also on the grid somewhere. His car might not have loaded in just yet, but we are rolling now onto the racetrack to begin this Nashville 200. Looks like Corey Abbott, one of those who got an end-of-the-line request due to, I believe, the internet issues he's been having. So that'll take Corey Abbott from P7 on the starting grid all the way to the back of the field, and hopefully those internet woes do not continue for the driver of the 21.
Certainly, we hate to see any of those kinds of issues, and hope tonight will go better for him. Of course, Nashville Superspeedway, also one of those updated tracks with the refresh recently on the NASCAR side. It was already a pretty new one, as it was, since it had been reintroduced here in the past few years in the NASCAR Cup Series.
Yep, it definitely, I remember when it got released, so this track is somewhat new, but I think everybody's pretty well adept at this circuit at this point, and Tyler Fody, Blake Reynolds will look to capitalize here from the front row as the pace car drops to the apron, and we will get ready to race here in the Nashville 200. Tyler Fody leading this field down towards the restart zone. He gets the green flag. We are racing from Nashville. Into turn one they go. Tyler Fode clear ahead of Blake Reynolds. Ethan Stanley trying to slide up the racetrack and get into third. David Tooker, one of the continued playoff drivers, working to the outside of Stanley for that third spot as Reynolds will clear his teammate and dive to the bottom of the racetrack, all following Tyler Fode.
And of course, you see those orange numbers in the scoring pylon, the orange windshield banners. Those are the 10 drivers still in the playoffs here in the Belly Up Sports Cup Series, and 4 of them running the first 4 spots to start this race.
Side-by-side battle behind those playoff drivers there in 5th. Tate Lytle up top in that Lake Norman number 56 around Trey Holmes in the light blue number 23 for Pro Edge Racing. Now Trey Holmes' teammate at Pro Edge, Justin Wadsworth, will jump to the outside lane in that 6 car. He'll try to take over that spot from Trey Holmes as well. Zach, you talked about how this racetrack, here comes Ryan Gable, 3 wide on Trey Holmes. This racetrack really does have a narrow racing groove, but you can definitely make that outside line work as we watch Justin Wadsworth do just that.
Oh, you can absolutely run side by side or even 3 wide, as we're seeing, not with much success for Ryan Gable. I think running the apron really set him up in a treacherous position for turn 1 and 2, and it didn't pay off. But you can absolutely run this second and third lane. I think that the challenge at that point then becomes, how are you managing that right front tire? And of course, we talk about that so often here in the Belly Up Sports Cup Series, and it is critical on this concrete racing surface, especially with the sun beating down on it at the start of this race.
I'm with you there. One sideways and off the bottom of the racetrack. I believe that Sean Judson, might be Michael Hosack. Was one of the Halloween sponsored cars for Covered Bridge Racing.
You know that was 2 weeks ago, right?
Yeah, I think it was Judson in the 97, because here's Hosack down on the inside of Brent Jones in the 89 car. Yep, definitely was Sean Judson who got loose there off turn 2. No caution, though. We stay green. The field is singled out behind Tyler Fode. Blake Reynolds sitting in that second spot. Stanley third. Tooker still fourth. And it's Lytle, Wadsworth, Weeks, Holmes, Scott Crump, and then the battle for 10th between Gavin Higgins and Ryan Gable. A couple of more playoff drivers right behind Gable and Higgins. It's Jonathan Cutlip there in 11th, who comes in as the de facto points leader. He's won a whole lot of stages this season, couple of race wins to his name as well. And as Cutlip dives to the bottom on Gavin Higgins, he'll look to move forward, but not a great qualifying effort by Cutlip. But what we've seen from this 5-car all season long is that whenever he has that kind of bad qualifying effort, he really turns it on early in the race, winds up in the top 5 anyway when it gets to stage time.
Absolutely. Right now, still trying to get around Jonathan Cutlip, or excuse me, Gavin Higgins is trying, or yes, me Tarzan, you Jane. But I think it's going to be really interesting to see how easy it is to make a pass happen here. Right now, you can see this is a pretty prolonged fight, and now it's starting to bottle up behind them. You see Daniel Gore drawing into the picture. You see Garrison Hogan behind him in one of those Channel 199 cars. I think it's going to take a few laps to set up and complete these passes, at least until we see more of that tire wear.
Right, and these guys are certainly backed off in terms of overall race pace right now. A whole lot of conserving early in the going in this race is what I'm seeing. And as we take a quick look at our amount of tires, they got 5 sets of tires in the pits. They will not need to pit that many times. Obviously, the way the fuel's set up, they'll get to stage 1 here, and they'll probably run it 15 or 20 more laps and then pit and be able to go to the rest of the race on that tank of fuel. I believe this is a one-stop race if this race were to go green. Now, I'm not expecting that, and I don't think any you at home should be either, but the way it's going right now, these guys are strung out. They're planning to make this a one-stop race.
And I think the challenge with that strategy, and we talked about this before the race, David, but just for our viewers at home, 75 laps will be a long time on these tires if it does go that long, with how abrasive this racing surface is at the Nashville Superspeedway. So who's being smart with those tires right now? Who's taking care of them if we do get that long green flag run? Because if you're not, you're going to have to strongly consider calling it audible. going to a two-stop strategy, maybe even pitting before the end of the stage and trying to get a real big undercut to make up for that extra pit stop, because otherwise you are going to be just absolutely floundering out there.
Worth noting, in terms of tire fall off, these guys have run 11 laps thus far, and are certainly conserving their tires, but they qualified at the 32nd to 30.3 mark. They're currently running, Tyler Fody ran a 30.8. A lot of the guys in the field, the guys we're tracking right now, Daniel Gore, Gavin Higgins, Johnny Thomas, they're running 31-second lap times. They're already a second off the pace, and I think that will continue to drop until it plateaus. I'm guessing around the 31.5 to 32-second lap time margin. Maybe the faster guys are going to be able to keep that up as we jump onto one of our new features here on the Elite Racing Network. Hopefully this provides a little extra information, but look at that. The two Fodys have been the fastest drivers over the, what is this, Dave, the last 5 laps?
Most recent lap.
This is last lap. Yep. So Tyler Fody's fastest last time by. Here we go across the line again. This time it's David Tooker. Here's last 5. Tooker running fourth. Certainly, these margins are very narrow, I believe, in that top 5. This next gen car doesn't offer a whole lot of margin between the cars. You have to be really, really good every single lap, and that's what we're seeing right now from a lot of the guys in this midfield. They're really not able to move forward, and Jonathan Cutlip hasn't been able to break past Ryan Gable and into the top 10 yet.
And you mentioned, there's a little bit of saving, there's a little bit of tire management going on, but even our fastest lap was a 30.224 by Tyler Fody compared to those qualifying times you were speaking of. So they gave up 0.2 right off the jump, right? Managing that tires, thinking the long game. They've still fallen off another half second after that already in these first 14 laps.
Right. Yeah. This is a race that at this point is going to come down to the ability to drive on the long run. A guy right here that's very good at that long run pace is Jonathan Cutlip, as we follow him here. We've also got this best battles on track. Note Johnny Thomas, Gavin Higgins, they're just behind this battle on the racetrack. But I do want to note that as Jonathan Cutlip drives forward, you look at Daniel Gore right behind him there. I think Daniel Gore's just following along with that 5 car, taking some notes, trying to make sure he's also there at the end of the race, because there's probably not a better one to go following, as our rookie of the year, Daniel Gore, will be continuing to try to march forward here.
You want to talk about a guy, I know you've talked to him as his team owner, but I've talked to him as well. Daniel Gore absolutely coming into this round of 10 feeling like he has house money. Yes, he only has the 1 playoff point. He is the guy that has to make up some ground if he's going to make this championship 4, but the only rookie to make the round of 10 in a rookie class that included former Coke Series champion Zach Novak. That alone, a feather in his cap, something he's very proud of. And from here on out, anything he can do to make some more money, win some more prize money, maybe get into that championship 4 and disturb the playoff picture a little bit, maybe be a surprise when we get to that championship race on December 10th at the Chicagoland Speedway, it's just icing on the cake for him at this point.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, he's not expecting much, but what I told him, I'll tell you guys at home, right? Weirder things have happened. I don't think he expected to be this far. So there's certainly a possibility that he moves on. And you look at that, right? He's right there running times equal to or better than race leader Tyler Fody right now. And that's not worth much when you're 4 seconds behind, but it's going to keep him in striking distance of guys who might make a mistake on this green flag pit stop that we might have. And he's certainly within range of grabbing stage points here, just needs one more spot. And that certainly could happen as guys start to fall off with that tire wear up here in the front of the field.
And hey, you want to talk about, as we see a little bit of smoke there, I don't know if somebody got loose or what. I don't see any issues on track. But, I mean, we were in a very similar situation about this time last year here in the booth, David Westergreen. You get to the round of 10, and then in the next to last race, the final race in the round of 10, Justin Wadsworth gets that win at the Kentucky Speedway, and then he goes on to win the championship. And now we've been referring to him in the past year as a former series champion, right? Mm-hmm. That could be somebody like a Daniel Gore or any of these other guys that we see in the round of 10.
Daniel Gore is certainly in that spot here. We've got this group of 10 drivers, and it is a really solid group. Going to be a difficult climb for Daniel Gore to move forward here, but it is it's been a successful season for the South Shore driver, and the most successful South Shore season that we've had. We do have a previous Rookie of the Year winner in Ray Bracey. He's not here tonight, but teams, at least in its infancy in terms of its presence in the Elite Belly Up Sports Cup Series and the Elite Series as a whole. And you got Ty running on Sundays trying to win the Truck Series championship. He's in the second round of the playoffs as well. So, it's all pointing up right now for South Shore Racing, and that's good stuff. I'm glad for Daniel Gore, and I'm real interested to see if he can go up here and grab at least one stage point, right? That'd help things going into the end of the race here.
And we talk about, whether or not Daniel Gore could be this season's Justin Wadsworth. Justin Wadsworth could be this season's Justin Wadsworth. 9th in points right now, only 4 points ahead of Daniel Gore. So he's 9th in that playoff seeding going into the round of 10. But again, it was this time last year, 2 seasons ago, when he got hot and it mattered, and he converted that into a championship. It would not be a surprise at all to see him do that again here in these next couple of weeks.
Yeah, Justin Wadsworth's up here in 5th spot right now, and I'll tell you, Zach, he's been really competitive the last couple of weeks. Remember, at Las Vegas, he was battling Blake Reynolds for second with just a couple of laps to go, and probably could have taken the podium over in that race, won by, I believe Tyler Fode won that race, but Wadsworth very easily would have finished on the podium and talked to us up here in the booth. And, I think he's in a groove right now, and you're absolutely right. If there's a guy you probably don't want to see make that Final Four at Chicago, Justin Wadsworth, he's going to be dangerous once we get there.
You see it there, his last lap faster than Tyler Fode's lap last time by. We'll see as it updates this time. About the same. Oh, yeah, okay, there it goes. There an update for Justin Wadsworth. So he actually slowed down a little bit that lap. But I think you're starting to see the top 10 to 15 or so are still able to stay in that 30-second bracket. Everybody else is really starting to struggle to stay in that bracket. That's where it's paying off, these guys being able to be in that clean air, manage their tires. It's crazy that they're that fast and still able to be this fast this long into a run, but that's why these are your playoff guys. That's why you look at this pylon right now. You see 8 of the top 10 have that orange number. And that's the ability it has taken to get to this point in the season.
And you mentioned the way the playoff guys are really fast. I want to shout one of the top guy that's not a playoff guy, Tate Lytle, in this 56 car. Yesterday, he won at Phoenix, and he and Tyler Fode were several tenths quicker than the field in our 2003 series that runs Tuesday nights, to the point that I was completely shocked the way they were able to run that car. We were running at Phoenix, a little bit different track, but you see what it's taking right now to excel in this series. Tate won, got kind of going away yesterday. He's running 6th right now. He's certainly not got that same level of pace, and Tyler's leading, right? But this race is going to provide different and unique challenges, and you're still seeing these guys be able to excel. And we hear talk about it when it comes to the talk of the real life playoffs, when the lights are brightest, right? Tate Lytle and Tyler Fode have really stepped it up on Tuesdays, and I think that's translating over to their work here on Thursdays. Tate has really, I think, struggled a little bit this season. He's been a little out of the loop when it comes to this next gen car. He's, it's updated a couple of times on him, and then you couple that with, he's been sitting out a few races. He's got a child to take care of. It happens, but when he's able to get here, he's starting to turn that corner and get back to the Tate Lytle that we know and love. But he's run every race on those Tuesday nights, and you see what he's doing. I mean, he's got like 6 wins on the season, and he's got a points lead in a full season championship. He is performing when the lights are brightest there on Tuesdays, and I think that's helping him out here in this next gen car.
And the last time that the Belly Up Sports Cup Series raced at the Nashville Superspeedway in the 2024 A season, it was Tate Lytle picking up the win. We now look at this battle here. That is Chad Frankenfield on the inside, Gavin Higgins on the outside. That is for the 14th position.
Chad Frankenfield trying to move forward. Higgins sliding back just a little bit. He had moved up a little before, but we saw him get passed by Ryan Gable. A couple more guys got by. Johnny Thomas got by. Here comes Chad Frankenfield now as well. And just behind these guys, and we've talked about how skilled the playoff drivers are and how much of a grind it is. I would wager Seth Rawls didn't expect to be in this situation, to the point that I had to kind of check myself. I was like, wait, Seth Rawls is still in the playoffs? He is. He had a really good night last week at Talladega. He was battling Daniel Gore and Ty McIntosh and myself for that stage win as well, and had he finished third, I think, in the race, and that locked him in, right? A bunch of guys had problems behind him, and he was able to capitalize in this 25 car. He's parlayed those, the Daytona win and then a really good run at Talladega into a berth here in the round of 10. I imagine he feels just like Daniel Gore. He's kind of playing with house money, and you never know. Maybe he'll be able to sneak a good strategy out as he jumps to the inside of Chad Frankenfield and tries to head on by and into 16th spot.
Yeah, I believe if we pull up the D West leaderboard, we're going to see Seth Rawls' name maybe first or second on it. He did not have a great qualifying effort, but he has picked up 9 spots, will be 10 if he's able to get around Chad Frankenfield. There you see him second on the biggest movers list behind Jeff Green, who is currently running 23rd after qualifying 34th.
Yeah, and Seth got air blocked a little there by Chad. Now he's under fire from Ethan Burrell, but just goes to show you it is difficult to pass out here tonight. It seems like this next gen car, we've seen it, the dirty air bog it down. It seems like that's kind of overboard right now to what it had been the last couple times we'd been at Nashville Superspeedway.
Definitely some changes since the last time. You talk about some of those aerodynamic properties, whether it be the aero blocking that we've seen more recently, or even just aero loose when you follow really closely behind somebody. And those are definitely some adjustments these guys are battling.
I want to direct our attention, Dave, up to the race lead. Blake Reynolds has run Tyler Fode down. Last time through, he was right on the rear bumper of Tyler Fode in that 40 car, and he's continuing to get really good runs through the center of the corner. You can see on our leaderboard the green numbers. That means that Blake Reynolds is faster lap after lap than Tyler Fode right now. And that's just kind of a thing we've seen this season, Zach. Blake Reynolds in this next-gen car is extremely good once you hit lap 30 to 40 of a run. It seems like Tyler Fode, Ethan Stanley, a few of these other guys have the pace on him right at the beginning of the race, but and right on the restart. But once this race goes green and once we get to this point in the run, Blake Reynolds seems to just come to life and be significantly quicker than these other guys. And what it's taken for those guys to hold him off has been pretty Herculean efforts by Tyler Fode and some of these other guys to be able to air block him and keep him in second spot. Ethan Stanley as well over the course of the season, where he would have won a lot of races if we'd seen it go green, but the way the races have divided up, it hasn't worked out for Blake Reynolds as well. Looking back at Seth Rawls and Chad Frankenfield, Rawls and Burrell both have bypassed the driver of the 15 car as we are at lap 36 of 150 here tonight. Stage will be at lap 60. And you only need one pit stop if this race stays green, and these guys have been green the whole way. Here's a battle for 10th between Daniel Gore and Trey Holmes. And Gore's been working on Holmes. You can see the gap there, but Gore's going to slide up in front of Trey Holmes, dump the dirty air on the nose of the 23 car, and move Daniel Gore into the stage points.
Move Daniel Gore into the top 10 still. 23 laps till we get to that stage break, but I think he got a little bit loose there on corner exit.
First time he hasn't been driving in dirty air in about 15 or 20 laps for Daniel Gore, and that's probably a big reason why that car is suddenly significantly more free. Jumping
Jonathan
up.
Cutlip's another one that has been really on the move and laying down some of our fastest laps here in the last 5 or 10 laps. He'll set up here to the inside of Scott Crump. This is a battle for the 8th position.
Cutlip working to the inside of Scott Crump. I'm also keeping an eye on the battle for the lead. It is getting really close up there for the race lead. And as Jonathan Cutlip pulls in behind Scott Crump, let's jump up to the battle for the top spot. Tyler Fode has it. Blake Reynolds is all over him right now. That 40 car really starting to see, I think, the effect of some tire wear here, and Blake Reynolds is really starting to put some pressure on. Fode got a little loose out of turn 2 last time, and it almost gave Blake the chance to jump to the inside. He didn't quite have the run, but he might have it here.
Yeah, I'll tell you, if these two guys get side by side, I think you are going to be surprised by how quickly these cars behind them catch them. Some of them are already running quicker laps, marginally. Tiny margins, but they're already just a little bit quicker. They've done a little bit better job managing their tires, or they're in a little bit cleaner air. And if these guys get side by side, I think you're going to see this front group pack up in a hurry.
Ethan Stanley's already closed down another 1/10 of a second. He's only 4/10 behind these two. On board here with Blake Reynolds, and we'll go around a lap here on the Nashville Superspeedway. It's oh my goodness, very close to the rear bumper of Tyler Fode. And you think about the diffuser and the way it dumps the dirty air. Reynolds gets to the inside of Tyler Fode here.
Now
Fode drives it.
Yeah, he's got to try to drive it in, keep Blake bound down on the inside so he can't get that run off the corner as we're on board. Left a little too much room, I think, but now he's got to get the side draft. He's got to have the momentum. Fode carrying that steam into turn 3.
And Tyler Fode leaving about a lane exactly on the bottom of the racetrack for Blake Reynolds to run. That's what you have to do when you're defending against a pass here. Fode leads this lap, but there was a lead change there. Reynolds led the last lap. A bonus point for each driver thus far. That'll be useful for their pursuit to get into the final 4. There will be at least one spot provided. Laps led counter says Fode led last lap as well, so there you go.
Still side by side as they make the round 4, and I mean, you said it already, Ethan Stanley eating into that gap.
It's down another 1/10 here. He actually lost some time. Tyler Fode's almost picked up.
Yeah.
Tyler Fode's almost picked up the pace, running side by side, running the top lane here against Blake Reynolds. This is almost normal for Tyler Fode, right? Get into a defensive position and then pick up the pace. When you were leading without that much pressure, you weren't able to save the tires or run the car like you wanted to. But now that he's being forced to run it a little bit harder, all of a sudden the car has picked up the pace. Here he goes. He's going to lead another lap. And Zach, at what point does Blake Reynolds get a little impatient? It's a feature we've seen from him a decent amount this season. That 66 car's made a decent amount of contact, and he's running clean right now. Kept it on the bottom. Fode's been pretty aggressive with the defending. Looks like he's going to be clear right here. Oh, maybe not.
Nope. He grabbed that right rear. He's got to be able to almost pull alongside him. Oh, he sends it into turn 1. Is he able to make it stick, though?
I don't think so. Blake Reynolds is going to be clear for the race lead, though still not quite. Tyler Fode really hanging on the right rear of Blake Reynolds' car, but there goes Blake into turn 3, and that's all she wrote. Gavin Higgins is about to go a lap down. I think we might have missed some sort of incident. There is damage to the left front of this 20 car.
We'll take a look at the Rebel S Photography replay machine. Gets loose out of turn 2. He's got to hit the inside wall almost certainly. Sliding through the grass, brakes locked up, but not a lot of traction on that grass, and that's certainly where the damage would have come from on that 20 machine.
And it's dropped him from about 14th or 15th all the way back to a lap down here. As the battle for the lead heats back up, Tyler Fode jumped back to the outside of Blake Reynolds after Reynolds cleared by Gavin Higgins, and Tyler Fode is not done. Reynolds led the last lap, but Fode will lead this lap, and that 40 car is, again, it just comes to life when it's time to play defense.
And where does Mark Revelis go here? Because that could have a huge factor in how this battle for the lead plays out.
He's not going anywhere.
Boy,
now he goes to the top.
High side. Yep.
It's a tough spot to be in as the lapped car there. And, running down the back straightaway. Leaders are side by side behind you.
Yeah. Which way do you want? Yes. Oh.
Yeah. And Mark's in a spot to get the lucky dog here. If something goes wrong and a caution comes out, we've already seen Gavin Higgins spin around. Break sideways! And that's what Tyler Fode had been hoping to accomplish with that defensive maneuver. Like, he's hoping to get that car to the inside loose, get that right rear hot, and that way he can kind of get back to the race lead. That's why Tyler Fode was so persistent. There's just 12 laps left in the stage. That's a very important stage point going towards that final round. Somebody's going to make it on points. You have to make sure it's you. the aggression from Tyler Fody is due in part to, that playoff format, but it's also due in part to that stage point, and that, that's such a huge part of the way things are going right now. You just have to get as much as you can. Tyler Fody's doing that.
Well, I think not just the stage point, right? But we've seen how hard it was even in that battle for Blake Reynolds to make that pass. You have to assume for the guys at the front of this field, they're so even, they're so equal. Having that track position is going to be massive all night long. So if you can stay in front of him until you get to this green flag pit stop that we expect to be coming near the halfway mark of this race, that's a huge advantage that you absolutely want to cash in on. And that means you got to stay in front of him by almost any means necessary. As now we look further back here.
Oh, my.
Bound up behind that damaged car of Gavin Higgins, and that's going to allow Chad Frankenfield to take the fight to it.
At the beginning of this night, you said that the racing surface was narrow, and my initial thought was a little bit of curiosity. I was like, I feel like you can run a lot of different lanes here. You can, but what we're seeing is this thing narrows up in a hurry. When you get a slow car in the way, oh my, this place gets real narrow real quick. And almost, it's the concrete tracks seem to, I think, have this effect where maybe the straightaways play a little more narrow, the corner exits play a little more narrow than they truly are. I think of Dover, I think of Bristol, right? Those are the other, concrete style tracks, and they all have that same feature where the straightaway just feels like it's a little bit less. I don't know if that was loose. They looked to me like the 37 got a piece of the 15.
I'm sure there was definitely contact. I'm not sure which came first.
Go back and take a quick look. I'll follow along live, let you guys know if we need to jump back to it. Yeah, that car got loose right before Ethan Burrell got there. Chad Frankenfield.
Nevertheless, he has held on to the spot.
Yeah, there's definitely right front damage now on Chad's car, though, and it's going to be a tough send. Worth noting, I believe Burrell got caught in one of the wrecks last week, and that kind of knocked him out of the playoffs. A little bit surprising not to see an orange banner on this 37 car.
Certainly is one of the guys that, just has not had a season to his standards. Now, for somebody like me, I'd kill to have a bad Ethan Burrell year, right? But nevertheless, it has not been good enough to keep him alive in this playoff conversation. No wins this season. Just not the kind of year that we're used to seeing from the driver of that 37 car.
A couple of times we've interviewed him, too. He's been pretty adamant that he feels he's lost a step at this point. And unfortunately, the results have agreed, even though I think if you strapped Ethan Burrell in a different car, maybe on a different night against maybe some different competition, he'd show you otherwise.
It's been very feast or famine, right? Just the one top five, 5 top tens, but
spinner!
Oh, it
is Justin Vandermarl.
And
that is not going to be a yellow.
It's not going to be a yellow. He almost came to a stop, but so far off the racing surface, it's not going to bring out the caution. And now he will rejoin and lose a ton of time here.
Yeah, he's almost a lap down here.
Yeah.
Tyler Fody's at the start-finish line right now. So Vandermarl loses about half a lap in that kerfuffle. And a ton of spots fell from inside the top 20 all the way back to 30th place right now. Don't look now, guys, but the battle for the lead is heating back up as we jump over. We looked at Trey Holmes has fallen back quite drastically, but I think the tire wear is kind of biting him right now. Tate Lytle loose off turn 4. He has to back out of it. Matthew Weeks will take 5th. Wadsworth will take 6th. Seems to be this is the point, Zach, where the tires are really starting to wear for just about everybody in this top 10. You're seeing guys with a lot of experience and a lot of poise start to lose the nose of these cars, start to lose the rear ends on corner exit. But you've got to make it to lap 75 so that you can make this thing on one stop.
And let me tell you what's not helping this. And again, I guess it was sometime around last season we made that change, right, as far as the weather conditions used for races here in the Belly Up Sports Cup Series. But when do we race in real life at the Nashville Superspeedway in the NASCAR Cup Series? The middle of the summer. Looking at an ambient temperature of 86 right now. Track temp around 91 degrees, and that's with the sun setting, as you can tell by the long shadows on the racetrack. Those shadows are certainly helping, but still a very hot racetrack we're dealing with right now.
Yep, and that's certainly accentuating the tire wear as Blake Reynolds to the back bumper of Tyler Fode, but there's 2 laps left in this stage. Fode still fighting for that stage point. Oh, a little piece of the wall by Ethan Stanley in third. It looks, though, like it's going to be these 2 front runners for this stage. Tyler Fode continuing to play that defense that he's been so good at for so long, and it was 1 lap to go in the stage here. He's got to hold off Blake Reynolds for 1 more circuit. I just don't know if Blake can get there. He's been a little bit faster, got a little bit loose there coming off of turn 2. He's going to probably send it in pretty deep into turn 3. He does.
Oh, yeah, he does.
To the bumper of Tyler Fode, but I think any more, and both of them might have wrecked. Tyler Fode will drive off of turn 4 and win stage 1. And there will be 90 laps to go here in this race as Fode collects 10 points, a playoff point towards the next round, which actually doesn't really matter at all because of the it's the final 4.
Sure.
But then you have Blake Reynolds there in second, Stanley third, Tooker fourth, Weeks fifth, Wadsworth sixth, Crump eighth, Cutlip ninth, Gore 10th. All of them got points. The lone playoff driver that does not grab a playoff point is Seth Rawls in 12th.
Yeah, of course, Seth Rawls, we talked about earlier, qualifying back in 26. I mean, he's gained 14 spots to get himself to 12th, but he spent so much of this green flag run earning that track position, fighting his way through the field. It'll be interesting to see if we do stay green here, what he's able to do in the second half of this race.
Right. Tyler Fode's heading to pit road. Interesting, because I do not believe Tyler Fode can make it to the end of the race from here.
That would be, what, 88 laps, if my math is correct?
It's an awful lot.
It's a gracious plenty.
Maybe Tyler Fode's expecting everybody to have to make it 2 stops, but I got word it's about 75.
Now, what's going to be interesting to see here, how many people are going to follow Tyler Fode. How many people is he going to bring down pit road if he starts laying down some fast laps with these 4 fresh tires and feel like they can't let him get 10 laps or 15 laps of an undercut on them?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like you. If you can do it in 1 stop, it's worth it. I'm willing to take that gamble, but especially with Tyler Fode's track record and the level of success he's had, how many people are going to see that name being the first taker on pit road and say, well, if he's doing it, maybe I should be doing it.
Right.
Oh,
that's it.
Okay, we're
good. He also came off pit road in kind of a horrible spot there, going 3 wide with Michael Hosack and Trey Holmes. That's not going to help the time loss here any. I also want to point out that the leaders are still running 31 flats. They really haven't fallen off from that first 10 laps 100%. Where they kind of dropped to 31. So the undercut's only as powerful as the fall off, right? And right now, the fall off isn't all that great. Matthew Weeks is still cutting laps in the 30-second bracket.
I'm kind of with you on that. It kind of plateaued right at that 31-second mark, unless it was just getting really hard for him to maintain that speed and that pace. Little surprising to see him bring it to pit road when we were under the impression this could be a 1-stop race. We'll keep an eye on that as we move forward, but I'm kind of like you. I'm in the same boat on this.
Yeah, and we'll see. Tyler Fode's won 99 total Elite Series races. He's Matthew Weeks and Ethan Stanley, a little bit of contact on the front straightaway. Weeks is definitely faster than Stanley right now. He drove up and passed Wadsworth. He drove up and passed Tooker. He's currently trying to pass Ethan Stanley and go after Blake Reynolds for the race lead. This 11 car has really come to life late in this run, and that's something Matthew Weeks prides himself on, likes being really strong with the old and hot tires at the end of the run. Mm-hmm. And he's certainly faster right now, but Stanley's doing the same defense that Tyler Fode was performing on Blake Reynolds a little bit earlier. And I think Matthew Weeks might be a little less patient than Blake Reynolds was with Tyler Fode earlier in the race.
Quite possibly. We'll see how that plays out.
I'm getting word that he's unhappy over the radio with Ethan Stanley here. And I'll tell you, Zach, if you're unhappy over the radio with somebody that's defending against you, there goes Matthew Weeks, and now he's overdriven it. I was going to say, if you're unhappy with someone, if you're unhappy with someone and how they're racing you, don't come over the mic and tell them, because then they'll race you harder.
Well, that is human nature, is it not? and to be fair, I don't really even think Ethan Stanley did. He gave him, if anything, more room that time. But like you said, those tires were hot, got on the gas a little too hard, a little too early, and just nearly spun that 11 car around.
Yeah, he might be coming to pit road right here. Maybe not. Tate Lytle gave him an extra lane in case he wanted to drop down, but he did not end up going down pit road. Just very fascinating, the dichotomy of online racing, because, in real life, if you're sitting in that car, you have absolutely no way to get word to the other car beyond perhaps a fan gesture of sorts, right? That's basically all you can do, and it's still up in the air at 100 plus miles an hour if they're even going to see it. In iRacing, you can just pop on the radio and tell them whatever you think about them as soon as it happens. And the immediacy of that and the ability of you to communicate your displeasure immediately it's both a blessing and a curse, because I think in that case, Matthew Weeks being able to show his displeasure that quickly created a situation where he got raced even harder and then wound up getting sideways and losing all the spots he gained.
It's a blessing and a curse, right? And I think what we see more often, and I don't think that was even necessarily, well, it kind of was the case here in my opinion. We don't have to go back and look at it, but in real time I didn't see anything terrible. Clearly two cars just kind of on hot tires fighting for grip, and they bounced into each other. I didn't see any malpractice from either driver there. No. Certainly not, but you feel yourself getting doored and you key up the mic. What the heck, man? Why'd you do that for? I think a lot of times it's very easy to press that button and voice your displeasure, and then if you take the time to watch the replay, you're like, I kind of was wrong about that.
Right. I mean, I have a pretty decent, example from last night's race. Matthew is one of the drivers involved, but Daniel Gore was kind of biding his time, saving his tires, and just holding up some folks behind him. And the folks voiced their displeasure over the radio, and Gore rather simply said, okay, I'll actually race you harder then, instead of continuing to just give you room and let you work around me and figure out how to get around. We were running a long green flag run just like this. It's on the trailing passing car to find a way around. And if the defending car wants to run the defensive line, you can't stop him. He's in front of you. He's going to run his lane. You run your race, and we figure it out. And, getting mad at somebody for racing, especially in the top 10, in their case here at the top 5, seems unnecessary. Is David Tucker coming to pit road? He sure is. He's
is going to actually pass him, because David Tucker got all kinds of out of shape. Now, did Matthew Weeks, he had a late lockup, did he make it on pit road safely?
Just like it. I think we have the ability to see our black flags and display them for you guys. And Weeks and Tucker do make it to pit road. I believe they can go on one stop here. Frank Fody hits pit road. I think Blake Reynolds is coming this time. Yeah, he sure is. Blake Reynolds down pit road. Justin Wadsworth's going to follow him. Tate Lytle, Scott Crump.
Very, very tough pit road to get onto, as you're seeing.
Yep. Daniel Gore onto pit road. Seth Rawls, Johnny Thomas, Michael Goodman, Mark Urbilas, Ryan Gable, Ethan Burrell, everybody heading down pit road at lap 75. Zach, these guys know they can make it on one more stop.
Absolutely, and we'll see who's able to make the most of this pit stop, get on and off pit road.
Gilberto, Carlos Acosta, here comes Ethan Stanley. Jonathan Cutlip, Garrison Hogan are following him down pit road as well. Chad Frankenfield on pit road. Do we have any black flags, Dave? Did everybody nail this pit road? Yes, we all made it, or yes, everybody nailed. Wow. That's a really good green flag stop if you miss getting if you get nobody getting a black flag on a Nashville pit stop.
especially with how many cars. Naturally, because the way we kind of figured it was a very narrow pit window if you were trying to once stop it. It was going to be a whole lot of cars all getting on the pit road at the same time. We saw that, and so that all it would have taken is one car missing a mark to cause problems for 3 or 4 guys, right? And we really did not see that. Boy, that was almost a moment there with our leader. Oh, it's still a moment. He's not going to make it, or is he? He did make it.
2 different elite saves there by Justin Vandermarle and David Tooker to get onto pit road safely and with no caution. And as this thing cycles around, Tyler Fode's going to be your race leader, Zach, but I think he might be in a really bad spot.
Well, I'm kind of curious. I mean, even if he has the fuel to make it without another stop, I mean, we're going to be able to see pretty quickly here. That's a 2.1 second margin. I don't think it's going to last very long. Already, even just the last lap, Blake Reynolds was a good almost a half a second quicker than Tyler Fode. Certainly, we believe that will plateau at some point, and then they'll probably be on fairly level playing field. But, man, I don't think this lead is long for Tyler Fode.
It's a very interesting turn of events. It seemed so obvious that this was a one-stop race. He's certainly banking on a yellow, right? He's banking on a yellow flag. He's got to get one. Well, boy, that would be a lot of good fortune when you could have just dropped back a little bit. I think he was maybe concerned about the tire wear on this 40 car. You'd really run the top hard to hold off Blake Reynolds and win the stage. I just think at that point, right, you just go back to 5th or 6th. There's a big gap in there. Go back to 5th or 6th, pit from there. Maybe you do short pit it, but maybe short pit by 1 lap, 2 laps to gain some of that track position back. Don't short pit by 15 and throw the race away there. Though, Zach, do you recall the last Elite Belly Up Sports Cup Series race that went caution free? Because that's what it would take.
Boy, let me do some homework.
Because it was probably one of the road courses before we threw the stage yellow.
Well, right.
But throwing those out, the last oval race that went caution free, I mean, nothing comes to my mind immediately.
Keep stalling. I'll figure it out.
Yeah, I'm not sure. As Blake Reynolds does clear around Justin Vandermarle, who had an adventurous pit road entry and an adventure through the grass as well. He is 24th, first car 1 lap down, and he's got a couple laps fresher tires than Reynolds and Stanley here, but he is between the 2 of them. Stanley works to the inside of Vandermarle, and he will be Blake Reynolds' biggest competitor here down the stretch. Behind them, Matthew Weeks had a pretty good pit cycle because he got around David Tooker under that cycle. Tooker, after that adventurous pit road, falls back a spot there to 5th. Justin Wadsworth 6th, Lytle 7th, Crump 8th, and then it's a sizable gap to Jonathan Cutlip and Daniel Gore, 9th and 10th. First battle on track here that we can find between lead lap cars will be between Ethan Burrell and Ryan Gable. That is for 14th. Burrell has it, just got it from Ryan Gable. They're trying to chase down Johnny Thomas, who's a couple of seconds up the road, but this green flag stop has really spread the field out right now. Everybody's quite far away from each other, with the growing exception of the race lead and the gap therein. Tyler Fode is only up now by 0.8 of a second on Blake Reynolds, and that gap continues to shrink. He's chewing up a 0.2 a lap here. There'll be 3 laps before Blake Reynolds is in the race lead.
Nope, that's a road course. I'm in 2023B.
And we still don't have one. Yeah, it's been a minute, I would say.
Yes.
Which comes first, the end of the race or Zach reaching?
Yeah, Dave, should we throw it to commercial break here? Maybe a side-by-side, since there's no guarantee we actually do get a chance to put together our commercials?
Yeah, I haven't used side-by-side this year. What happens when I try it?
have the answer.
Okay.
Oh,
2023A, May 17th, 2023, Michigan. 200 miles, 100 laps, won by Tyler Fode.
Oh, caution.
Oh, no!
and all we had to do was talk about it. And now Tyler Fode looks like a genius. As he will keep the race lead. That really, we couldn't have scripted it any better. Gilberto gets a little bit squirrely coming off turn 2.
Right in front of the leaders.
Oh, right in front of the race leaders. I mean, and Tyler Fode couldn't possibly have asked for a better sight.
Well,
Blake Reynolds was...
He probably didn't want to be that close to it, but...
He missed it.
Oh, man. He missed it.
That's what he needed. That's exactly what he needed.
Straight to the commercials.
Yeah. So now we'll jump to our commercials now, and then we'll be back with you for the restart.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Now let's hear about Blue Egg Marketing. Rev up your business with Blue Egg, your marketing pickthrough. Turbocharge your lead generation with experienced drivers that can navigate the competitive track to connecting with your customers. With Blue Egg, you're always in the pole position, leading your brand toward victory lane. Don't spin your wheels, accelerate success with Blue Egg, fueling small businesses to win big.
Have you ever just forgot to hold the brakes during a wreck? Are they just not able to pronounce your name in a race?
Paul Mikolajczyk.
Have you ever been wrecked by Chad? Hi, I'm Ray Bracey, and I'm here to share with you Quick Shifts. Watch all the highlights, lowlights, and other shenanigans in the top racing leagues, such as the Elite Racing League, and... But don't just take my word for it.
Before Quick Shifts, I was depressed. I wasn't able to relive my favorite moments from each race. Now with Quick Shifts, I can go out there and listen to all my favorite banter from the race while seeing all the crashes and good racing once again.
I don't remember life before Quick Shifts. I had to listen to Cameron Proke and Ty Mac and Cheese recap Oscar every week in the 3-Wide TV booth, but now, thanks to Quick Shifts, I actually enjoy my Oscar recaps.
So try Quick Shifts. You suffered through it one time, why not suffer through it again?
Side effects of Quick Shifts include constipation, diarrhea, dizziness, dry mouth, abnormal heart rhythms, internal bleeding, numb tongue, unfiltered honesty, loud hiccups, laughing uncontrollably, mandatory dancing, midnight munchies, blue urine, red urine, no urine, and many more.
Welcome back to the Nashville 200. After our first caution flag of the day, much to Tyler Fode's request, Matthew Weeks has won the race off pit road and will have control of this restart. David Tooker alongside him, Reynolds and Fode there in row 2. Johnny Thomas with a 2-tire call in row 3. Pace car is off. Weeks on the loud pedal. We are racing again. Good start for Fode, bad start for Reynolds. And Matthew Weeks off to the race lead. Tooker to the inside lane in front of Reynolds. Now Tyler Fode will try to work the outside with those 4 tires.
And that's one thing I think we did see a little bit of a shake-up here. Under that caution with the pit stops, Tyler Fode, of course, definitely wanted 4 tires because he was out there the longest on his, but we did see some 2 tire stops there under that caution.
3 wide.
We'll see how that plays out as they are 3 wide here for second.
3 wide between Tooker, Fode, and Reynolds. Tooker backs out of that spot. I believe Tooker's got one of the drivers on 2 tires. He was able to jump up so many spots. Fode able to jump to the outside lane, continue his charge towards the front. Burrell clears past Thomas behind. Underneath him goes Ethan Stanley. Stanley's got 4 tires as well. I just think, Zach, there was a lot of time left in this race. 4 tires felt like the right call. You had 5 sets in the pits. I wouldn't want to be out there with less grip.
The only thing I'd call this, that there are several drivers that love this. One of them being our Elite Racing Network colleague, James Watson. I've seen him do this a lot on Thursday nights. If you think the fixed set that we are using on a given evening in one of these sessions is a little snug, a little, you have to turn it a little more than you'd like to get through the corner, 2 tires will fix that for you.
Yeah, it'll definitely free the car up a little bit. Johnny Thomas seems to be struggling a little there. 3 wide between him, Tate Lytle, and Jonathan Cutlett back there in the field. This battle up front has been electric, but this might be our next caution. Daniel Gore certainly wouldn't want to see that. Neither would Jonathan Cutlip or Scott Crump, as they are the cars involved in this. Here's Seth Rawls as well. The whole kind of playoff committee is all right here. Johnny way up to the outside lane. Those 2 tires really not agreeing with this 83 car. Oh, Cutlip's going to get a piece of Tate Lytle. They spin, and that's it. Wow. I don't know if that should have even been a caution.
Was that an iRacing? I guess it had to have been an iRacing caution.
It was an iRacing caution, yeah.
Had to be,
Tate, Tate got sideways, and that was the yellow. And I think Jonathan Cutlip's going to get a tally for that, which, I mean,
unless there's net code here, because I mean he's out of shape here. Unfortunately, even though they all gathered it up, I just don't see any way the tally won't go on him, which is really unfortunate because, I mean, no doubt he missed the corner, slid up the hill into Tate Lytle, but everybody gathered it back up.
Scott Crump got up.
Yeah.
A little piece of Tate, but I don't even see damage on the 90 car.
I mean, that's the thing. It would not have been a severe damage issue if it stayed green. And again, no doubt, what caused the incident is what caused the incident. But boy, really surprising to see the caution there.
Yeah, it was very quick trigger by iRacing. We've seen cars bouncing off the inside wall, spinning through the infield grass, and that not trigger a yellow flag. But one car a little bit sideways in the middle of the pack, and all of a sudden iRacing's got a hair trigger on it. So that will allow us to re-rack. Matthew. Yeah, I don't think. I mean, Johnny Thomas is going to pit. Tate Lytle probably should. Yeah, Tate Lytle's going to come down and bolt 4 new tires on the 56 car. That one's maybe a little. Those tires are maybe a little cooked, but everybody else back here has maybe hit the wall. Chad Frankenfield's definitely been in the fence. Vander Marl's been spun through the grass. Everybody back here's got nothing to lose, I don't think.
Exactly. If you're at this far back, you might as well throw the 4 tires on and see if it makes a difference and let you pick off some of these leaders. Race control says Jonathan Cutlip, car contact causing the caution.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head there. There's not much he could have done differently, but he did do it, and it did toss the yellow, and it's a tough break for one of our championship contenders. That kind of, we talk about the tallies as mulligans. Well, they start to accrue point penalties if you acquire more than one. I don't believe Cutlip got a tally last week at Talladega, but thinking ahead next week, if I believe next week is a short track, it might be Richmond next week, but
Phoenix and then Richmond, so 2 short-ish tracks.
Right, yeah. Phoenix and then Richmond going forward. I mean, those are places you could definitely wash up and get a tally.
Absolutely.
And that would definitely hinder Jonathan Cutlip's championship aspirations. So, no harm yet for Jonathan Cutlip, but it could get worse if a mistake is made next week.
Gentlemen, can I tell you about Worldwide Technology?
You sure can, Dave.
Worldwide Technology Raceway is a motorsport racing Addison, close to the Gateway Yard. Features a 1.5-mile oval that NASCAR Craftsman mile infield road by a speed, a quarter-mile NH. And the Kartplex, karting facility by technology for being a.
Yes. They've been blessed, I think, to have WWT Raceway on in the series for quite some time here. Re-racking the field, Matthew Weeks has chosen the outside lane in front of his teammate David Tooker. What that's going to do is pull David Tooker forward ahead of Tyler Fode, potentially ahead of Blake Reynolds on the bottom, but it's also going to draw Ethan Stanley closer to the race lead. Reynolds, Fode, and Ethan Burrell will restart on the bottom. Pace car is off. Weeks heads towards the restart zone, and we are racing once again. The big restart by those outside Toyotas does indeed happen, and Ethan Stanley's going to be fully to the long side Tyler Fode. He might even get by Fode here in turn one. He will. Oh, but he's going to get the wall.
Oh, hit the wall. What a save.
Ethan Stanley, I thought, was heading towards bouncing it off the fence, collecting Tyler Fode, and potentially several other playoff contenders. As it stands, Stanley is going to drive by Tyler Fode into fourth place with 4 fresh tires and a great shot to go win this race.
I will say, though, an early caution helps those 2 tire guys, because that's a heat cycle on all those 4 tire guys. It takes away some of that advantage.
And Matthew Weeks is certainly using that clean air to kind of keep the race lead. Blake Reynolds dives around David Tooker. Now he's unimpeded by Tyler Fode racing against him. He's going to drive to the inside on Matthew Weeks. Weeks leaves the door open just a little bit, but it will still be Matthew Weeks down this front straightaway. Lap 101 on the board. 50 laps to go, Zach.
50 to go, and I mean, I think the intensity's only got to ramp up from here. Obviously, we know what's on the line, a spot in that championship 4 to battle for the title at Chicagoland Speedway on December 10th. Here we go, battle for the lead, Weeks and Reynolds.
Few Weeks, the outside defensive lane. We've seen it from Tyler Fode a significant amount tonight against the 66 car Blake Reynolds, but Fode had four tires on the car when he was making this battle. Matthew Weeks has just the 2 right side tires. It's not allowing him to drive it in deep. And what we're seeing here, Blake Reynolds driving around Weeks and getting to the race lead. Three wide in the mid-pack, Daniel Gore, Seth Rawls, and Gore's getting a piece of Seth Rawls. They're spinning, and it's the same thing as Rawls' car straightens out and collects no one else.
We'll take a look at the Rebels Photography replay machine. There is that 3 wide. You were talking about Seth Rawls on the outside of Daniel Gore and Scott Crump. And there's the contact from the 69 to the 25.
That's it. That's the whole wreck.
One. And that's it. Hey, he does get a piece of the wall there. And what a tough break for Seth Rawls after, I mean, we talked about it being one of the hard chargers early in the race, and now he's going to fall all the way back to 18th.
You'll almost certainly come get fresh tires and potentially fix the damage.
Yeah.
And I don't think there was any intent from Daniel Gore there. He knew he was 3 wide, tried to give a little extra room to the car on the inside to prevent them from washing up into him. Got Scott Crump that was down there, and in so doing, I mean, that corner entry so sensitive. Matthew Weeks is going to head down pit road and try to collect 4 fresh tires. I'm guessing the next car down pit road will be Michael Hosak, and then it'll be Seth Rawls.
There you see our race recap. 6 lead changes so far in this one. Working our 3rd caution of the evening here. Blake Reynolds leading the way.
Dave, do we have a breakdown of who's led laps? I think we've got that as well, don't we? Oh, look at that. I love that.
There you you see it. Tyler Fode with 71 laps left. Blake Reynolds, of course, leading the way now. Matthew Weeks led 13 laps. Our 40 Raceware Pole Award winner, Ethan Stanley, led a couple laps. And Joseph Vandermarl has also, he led a lap during that pit cycle and then, of course, came down pit road and almost spun out from the lead after almost getting run over by Chad Frankenfield on his way to pit road. Daniel Gore picking up the tally. Car contact causing caution. Another playoff guy. Again, not a huge deal tonight, but keep that in the notebook here in the next couple of weeks.
You know, you can recycle exactly word for word the spiel I gave about Cutlip, right? It's not a huge deal now, but we're going to places like Phoenix. We're going to Richmond. You could pick up a tally at either of those tracks pretty easily, and if you're trying to point your way in, like Daniel Gore might have to, it's not a good way to start. Is use your mulligan in race one. I don't know. There was a whole lot Daniel Gore could have done there, but he did come up the track. It's all that call can possibly be.
Yep.
So we will restart here after working our third caution of the day with about 45 laps to go. Blake Reynolds will be your race leader. David Tooker sitting in second spot. Ethan Stanley will be third. Tyler Fode will restart in fourth. Ethan Burrell fifth. Justin Wadsworth will restart sixth. Jonathan Cutlip 7th, Garrison Hogan 8th, Scott Crump 9th, Daniel Gore will restart in 10th. Time to give a shout out, though, to some of these guys running just outside the top 10. You've got Frank Fode sitting there in 11th. He's had a very solid run tonight. Corey Abbott has recovered up to 12th after a really good qualifying effort, but took an EOL to start the race. Jeff Green started 34th on the day. He's currently our biggest mover, up to 13th. Johnny Thomas came down pit road a couple of cautions ago, got 4 tires. He might have a little something to get into the top 10 here from 14th. And then you just mentioned Justin Vandermarl sitting in 15th. Pace car heads down pit road. 45 to go still. Quite a bit of time left in this race. Matthew Weeks will be charging from outside the top 10. Reynolds takes us down and gets the green flag. Blake Reynolds will have a big jump on the field. Ethan Stanley going to try to clear past David Tooker. He will not do so entering turn 1. It's going to be a bit of a land rush. Stanley trying to get clear of that 19 on 2 tires. If he can do so, he'll have clean air to hunt down Blake Reynolds. He will do so.
That puts the Channel 199 teammates running 1-2. Blake Reynolds leading Ethan Stanley. Behind that, you see the battle for third. Ethan Burrell, David Tooker.
And that's between 2 cars with 2 right side tires. Tyler Fode with 4 is mired behind them. Then it'll be another Pro Edge Toyota and Justin Wadsworth and Jonathan Cutlip as well there in the 5. Oh, spinner. Was it Goody?
Harry?
No, it was Harry. Harrison Talon spins from 17th. He had risen up pretty high. Unfortunate for Harrison Talon. He will fall to the last car on the lead lap in 29th. Could have been a disconnection there from Harry. Back up front, Blake Reynolds has the race lead. Ethan Stanley, David Tooker, Ethan Burrell, Tyler Fode. Your top 5, another sideways car. It's Chad Frankenfield this time. Chad locked down the brakes to keep that car from sliding towards the inside wall, but he's backwards on the track with Harry coming, and the caution is going to wave. And I do wonder if extra action will be taken. I think the lockdown was fine, but then he gassed it there as the car was going. If he keeps it locked down, like I said, if he keeps it locked down, does that just draw the yellow when Harrison gets there anyway?
It'd sure be nice to know.
So when he pulled up onto the track, that immediately triggered the iRacing yellow.
Hindsight 2020, he got into gas too early on the whole, we're going to try to spin this thing around and get back going, which kind of put him on the apron.
Yep.
And then
He's
there's the rejoin.
He's
Obviously,
just going to
he's
end.
gonna get-
Yeah, he's just going to end up with a tally. I think. I just don't know if there's additional.
I can tell you one thing. There's got to be additional
Appeals.
ribbing
Yeah. There we go.
from everyone who's like, oh, of course Chad brought out the caution, and he's going to say, well, what was I supposed to do? I'm just trying to get going again. And nobody's got to like that it was Chad Frankenfield that brought out that caution because it was self-spin causing a caution. I don't think he's got to appeal that one. I don't think he has much leg to stand on. Not that that's
send
ever
his
stopped him
inputs to
before.
everyone.
Yeah.
A lot of requests for him.
A lot of requests for inputs. I can imagine that. I'm sure Tyler Fody in particular requested inputs.
I need to. There's the biggest movers of the race. I mentioned Jeff Green having moved up as high as he has. We haven't really mentioned Garrison Hogan. He is running 9th. One of the drivers that got knocked out last week at Talladega from the playoffs, but he's been able to hold his own in the top 10 here in this race. Just seems like he maybe doesn't have that race-winning pace that these kind of top couple of drivers have. I feel so out of the loop because I was on the racetrack and I don't recall seeing Garrison on the track last week. Wherever we were just never together.
You'll have that.
Saw my teammates a lot. I know what Daniel Gore's back bumper looks like pretty well. All right, well, we went through the running order last time through. It has almost effectively not changed with the small exception that Ethan Stanley now will restart on the outside lane of his Channel 199 Racing teammate. Blake Reynolds, the Pro Edge Toyotas, will restart in alongside one another in that second row. Then it'll be Tyler Fody and Jonathan Cutlip there in row 3, Wadsworth and Crump row 4, Hogan and Gore row 5.
Chad Frankenfield is leaving pit road now. He lost. I mean, he was there for close to 2 minutes and lost a lap.
He had a bunch of damage from that one hit.
I see.
That one hit on the wall that he had with Ethan Burrell, right? And there might have even been an additional incident that we didn't catch.
Sure.
To give him some extra damage. Pace car is off. 38 laps to go when we hit the line. Blake Reynolds to the race lead, and he gets going early in the restart zone. Ethan Stanley able to stay with his teammate here. David Tooker going to clear Ethan Burrell for third. Tyler Fody's going to be the car on the move here on the bottom, but he's just not able to roll the bottom here. It's going to leave a gap. Scott Crump sideways up into the wall. Oh, and they scramble going around Scott Crump. There's still 3-4 wide. Tate Lytle spins Justin Vandermarl. They save it. Vandermarl with an excellent save to keep the caution from coming out. They stay green. Tate got a piece of Vandermarl. There was just no way those guys weren't going to run into each other. They're 4 wide down the back straightaway.
4 wide and trying to get around Scott Crump, who we saw get a piece of the wall there. And now look at this bottleneck here. Johnny Thomas, Ryan Gable, and one of our 97 red cars.
Corey Abbott is that 21 car on the bottom of the racetrack. I definitely understand your confusion. Scott Crump spinning. That's a championship contender. Gibson is going to get a piece of him as well. Looked like Trey Holmes might have been the car to get a little bit of Scott Crump and send him sideways.
Scott Crump probably wondering if he needs to put on a Dayglow safety vest right now.
Ray Bracey has told me, Trey has already messaged. Trey has already messaged that it was on him, and I mean, again, it's that same incident that we've seen a couple of times today. The guy on the bottom wiggles up the racetrack, bounces off of somebody, and they get sideways just enough to draw the yellow. And I'll let you know, Scott Crump is up alongside Justin Wadsworth, expressing some displeasure. I don't know that he's not doing anything malicious. He's just driving next to him.
So that would have been the first contact that we didn't get a great look at in real time, but clearly there was contact that put Scott Crump into the wall on the exit of turn 2 the lap prior.
I don't know if you ever even touched him.
That interaction.
That'd be the
drivers. Yeah.
Yep. Displeasure shown. Head back to your spot.
Message received.
Yep. I think that's fair. You don't want to do any more than that, but
Nope.
Excuse me, sir. I didn't appreciate that very much. All right, we're done now. We'll try to get a look at the incident on the restart. It would have been the corner after the restart on turn 2. It's a hard spot to zoom back to. See if we can't have our production.
Perfect.
We'll just do the whole restart. That's perfect.
I think this is going to be perfect. Yes, because we're going to see. I think it kind of starts with Fody, right? Because he gets really deep into 1 and 2.
Washes up.
Washes up, backs out of it, and that kind of stacks up to say, oh, that actually has nothing to do with it. Wadsworth just washes up the hill. Maybe a little bit of netcoat. Definitely a very funky contact, but certainly there would have been contact either way. Wadsworth comes up the hill, tags the left rear of Scott Crump, and then he goes into the fence.
Former teammates there, but they did not part on particularly agreeable terms. And I think the disagreement, knowing Scott Crump, the disagreement, he may not run Justin Wadsworth particularly nicely going forward. Trey Holmes did get called for the yellow flag after that incident, that contact. And finally, 5 cautions later, that it seems like that lap 90 was quite a bit ago. All of a sudden, these guys have just
looked up that Michigan race.
These guys have turned up the wick so violently that this race has gotten turned completely on its head. Blake Reynolds and Ethan Stanley have certainly enjoyed the various cautions, and I think so has David Tooker and Ethan Burrell. They have effectively negated those 2 tires, I think, unless this thing goes green to the end, and they're probably set up very nicely to have a much stronger run than they were sitting in before that caution flag.
I mean, I talked about earlier how important track position was going to be tonight. I think that's where those 2 tires have paid off. They got that track position. They've been able to hold on to it.
Blake Reynolds, the race leader, Ethan Stanley second. Reynolds has been very strong, getting good restarts and getting away from the field. Tooker and Burrell, 3rd and 4th. Tyler Fody, Jonathan Cutlip, 5th and 6th. Pace car down pit road. Reynolds into the restart zone. He will fire off and get going. This may be one of his weaker restarts. Doesn't have quite the same gap he has had the last couple of times. Ethan Stanley wasn't able to clear David Tooker, so it was a really good restart by Tooker, but here comes Stanley to the outside of Tooker. Here comes Fody to the inside of David Tooker. 3 wide down the back straightaway. Oh, Tooker got cleared by Stanley. Here comes Fody up the track. Battle for 3rd is on. Fody with those 4 fresh tires trying to get past Tooker and back into the battle for the win. Dare I say it, Zach? We made it a lap under green.
Oh, don't say it yet. We did, but man, look at this 3 wide.
Frank Fody, the outside of Matthew Weeks up the track. Weeks through. Weeks has about 5 or so laps fresher tires. Oh, T-Rex. Weeks around. Corey Abbott spins. Johnny Thomas is around. Big crash on the back straightaway. Frank Fody involved. Seth Rawls involved. Started with Tate Lytle.
So well for so long. Yeah, the math doesn't math on this one. Right there, you're going to see them run out. I mean, that's almost 2 separate incidents. You see Matthew Weeks and Tate Lytle at the same time. Johnny Thomas is getting into Frank Fody.
Yep.
Which I don't know if does Lytle get into the wall, and is that what puts him kind of? He does, right there, gets into the wall. So that's how Weeks gets into him. Meanwhile, Johnny Thomas tags Frank Fody, which turns him into Seth Rawls. Matthew Weeks goes down the track and collects Corey Abbott. And now the track is effectively blocked, and everybody's just doing the best they can to get around it, and it's just got a pile in here. There you see Scott Crump, you see Kurt Gibson, you see Gerald Campbell. Does Jeff Green get through this? He does.
We are going to need onboard shots, Dave, of Jeff Green and Brent Jones in this one. Maybe Michael Hosack too, but my goodness.
So first, the 2000 Busch Series champion Jeff Green from the roof cam. Slows
On the binders.
down.
Oh!
I mean, you
Kurt
can tell
just-
he was already slowing down, but Kurt Gibson, I mean, just almost. I think when Kurt Gibson got a piece of it, it just almost stopped his car, like he pulled a parachute, and Jeff Green narrowly missed that one.
Who's the other one you wanted?
Brent Jones.
Jones, car 89. I like how I said car number, like that matters in the iRacing UI anymore. Thanks, iRacing.
Nice scooter.
God, just a little bit of the wall there, but I think that's incidental contact. That car's all right.
Just a kid.
I was looking at the Frank Fodi and Johnny Thomas one while you were kind of describing it. I think what happened is Frank saw the car go across and hit the wall. Starts to try to, I mean, he's got to turn left, but Johnny Thomas was quite literally on his door. So as Frank goes to turn left and go across, like to try to go underneath the car that's about to stop in the outside lane, he gets down just a little bit and gets into Johnny Thomas. I don't think this is worth an extra tally or anything like that. I think the first wreck, it causes this wreck because that's a reactionary by Frank, but it's such a tough spot. I mean, you see the car go up, hit the wall, and now you've got a car on your inside. You got nowhere to go.
100%.
Playoff drivers involved: Matthew Weeks, Scott Crump, Seth Rawls. That might be Tate Lytle's second tally of the race. Or no, he got spun out by Jonathan Cutler. Never mind, that'll be for his first.
Right.
There's Gibson, who gets a piece of this wreck right there. Yeah, and that's what we saw Jeff Green dive around. It's like Chad Frankenfield got a little.
Oh no!
Got a little extra of the wreck as well.
Just when he thought it was over.
So, that was almost all exclusively outside the top 10, as Tate Lytle does pick up the tally for that one. You'll note the top 10 is relatively unchanged. Those guys have kind of been where they've been the rest of the way. You look back, you think back on Matthew Weeks making the pit stop. His teammates are sitting up here in the top 5. And they're all on the same strategy, 2 right side tires. Questionable call. Another questionable call by one of our championship drivers, former champions of the series. It's worked out for Tyler Fodi, but I think Matthew Weeks is going to have a much steeper hill to climb the rest of the way in this one. Pace car is down pit road. Blake Reynolds bringing us back to the restart zone. And we are racing once again. Ethan Stanley with an excellent restart. It is difficult to stay that close to a leader with the jump like that. Stanley able to stay almost alongside Reynolds here into turn 1. He'll give up the ground and get cleared by Reynolds off turn 2, but this is about as close as he's been to the race leader, and we're wrecked.
I see Frankenfield. I see Rawls.
Holmes.
Is that Crump? Oh! Well, this starts. We might have to back it up a little bit to see, because they get all on top of each other before we even get into the corner here. There we go. Yeah, they end up making contact there. That's Goodman, and then Goodman gets loose. That's where Crump is going to get collected. Chad Frankenfield and Seth Rawls meet in the middle, going low to miss the wreck. Gerald Campbell had swung high to miss it, but collects the wall. He got a piece of Goodman anyway as well. And I don't have the voice chat queued up, but I have a feeling at least one person had to say something to the effect of, "Can y'all stop wrecking for 20th?" That seems to be a very popular. That seems to be a very popular refrain in these situations.
I was saying it and my mic cut out on me for a second, but this whole thing is a product of you've got some of those faster drivers back in the field. Now they're angry.
Oh,
and they're going to be overly aggressive, and you're seeing what's resulting in these yellows. Because I think Goody wound up in a very uncomfortable spot there. Right? He's going to get the tally. He deserves the tally. However, he he was not. He didn't need to be running the middle on corner exit, having changed lanes in the middle of the corner already. Right, like he was four wide entering turn one.
Right.
Now we didn't need to do that.
No.
So it's just it's such a tough spot, I think, overall for these guys. They turned the wick up, right? The caution gave everybody a chance to reset, re-rack. It closed up those big gaps that had occurred, and everybody saw an opportunity, right? And that's taken this race, which was once on pace to be one of the few caution-free races in this Elite Series history, to a complete crash fest.
Yeah, I shouldn't have looked that information up. We were doing really good until I looked that up, and then it got really rough really fast.
It's really funny. The guy who kind of kicked us all off, Gilberto, has fixed the car. He's sitting 16th on the lead lap right now. Not to call Gilberto out or anything. It's not necessarily his fault. He got loose and wrecked. That's the thing that happens in racing. But he hasn't done anything wrong since then, and he's taking advantage of the attrition right now. Just in front of him is Mark Carbilas, Carlos Acosta, Brent Jones. In the mid-teens, they're having good runs right now. Of course, that could be over by turn one. So.
And all it's gonna take is somebody to get 3 wide behind him, and
Well, Matthew Weeks is a couple rows back. Pace car down pit road. 7th caution of the race complete. Blake Reynolds will get into the restart zone here and fire off much earlier this time. Brings David Tooker along with him. Ethan Stanley unable to stay with Blake Reynolds that time through. It's going to be real tough for these guys to bypass Blake Reynolds, I think. As here we go through one. They made it. Tooker cleared Stanley for second. Stanley fighting back on the outside. Tyler Fode going to work up there with him against those Pro Edge Toyotas, but they just do not have any pace. It's up at the top right now. It's that bottom lane that's strong. Tooker blocks up the track against Stanley. Here comes Burrell to the inside for third. They're 3 wide back there around Carlos Acosta, Justin Vandermarl. They sort it out. Up front, Reynolds scooting away. Tooker in second with 2 tires. Stanley way up the track. Here comes Wadsworth up and into Fode. Could have been a mess. They stay green again.
Wadsworth still didn't quite get to the bottom that time in 1 and 2 either.
3 wide again, back around Matthew Weeks. Chad Frankenfield, Gilberto, Corey Abbott. They are trying to wreck back there. Still 3 wide. They will find a way. Carlos a piece of the wall, but they stay green. 2 wide, all behind Blake Reynolds. David Tooker has cleared to second. Stanley third. Burrell is fourth. Wadsworth hunting fifth on Tyler Fode. Yeah, Zach, I think back to.
Go ahead.
I think back to the 4-tire call to pit lap 60 for Tyler Fode. That's what threw his race off. He wasn't able to try the 2-tire strategy. He wasn't able to retain his track position, and getting into the pack has bound him up, fighting with these guys well behind the race lead.
Well, I think it has also not helped that he hasn't had a lot of laps to do anything. Certainly right now he's in trouble. Yep. There is the wreck. Oh, several.
Gilly got a piece of Carlos Acosta. I talked up Gilly.
You talked up Gilly.
Right before this. And I shouldn't have did that. Yeah, Carlos got a little loose before this. You see him wiggling there. I don't know if Gilly got a piece of him the first time, but then Gilly finished him off. Boy, Zach,
I think
you
flip the apron.
know, Zach,
Here.
Trey Holmes has run that North Carolina blue car a lot this season. He's wrecked that North Carolina blue car a lot this season. I think it might be the I think it might be the Tar Heel.
Hey, we're doing real good in basketball, have you know. We beat Kansas last Friday. It's basketball season.
All right, it's basketball season.
I agree.
It's tough.
It's basketball season. Trey Holmes probably wishing it was 2026A right now.
Right? Yeah, he's had a rough one this year. Here's the rundown. Is Kurt Gibson getting the free pass? Probably, right?
I would have to.
Daniel Gore heading for tires. So is Tate Lytle.
It looks like Kurt Gibson will be the free pass, but he's I'm seeing 2 laps down, but the pylon showing 3 laps down. He's not going to be on the lead lap after this. That I can tell you.
Yeah. Carlos Costa gets the tally for bringing out the yellow. Dave, should we go ahead and throw another ad on the screen here?
All right, here we go.
While we work our 8th.
Now let's hear about Blue Egg Marketing. Rev up your business with Blue Egg, your marketing picker. Turbocharge your lead generation with experienced drivers that can navigate the competitive track to connecting with your customers. With Blue Egg, you're always in the pole position, leading your brand toward victory lane. Don't spin your wheels, accelerate success with Blue Egg, fueling small businesses to win big.
Welcome back to the Nashville 200, working our 8th caution of the race. Brief recap is, as we throw it up on the screen, we went 90 green flag laps, and then we've had a rash of 8 consecutive caution flags. Blake Reynolds is your race leader, has been leading right around since the beginning of that run of caution flags. He was able to snag the lead away from Matthew Weeks before one of them. He'll be leading David Tooker into this restart. Ethan Stanley in 3rd, Ethan Burrell 4th, Tyler Fode 5th, Justin Wadsworth 6th. Reynolds closing in on Tyler Fode for the most laps led in this race. I don't believe he'll get there before the end of the night. That'll be an extra point for Tyler Fode. Biggest movers of the race will be Jeff Green, Ethan Burrell, who's having a really good run, Michael Hosak, Mark Arbilis, and Brent Jones. Well, Zach, you think we can get a 17-lap run to the end here?
No, but I can dream. Uh-oh. David Tooker blinking as we get ready for this restart here.
It could cause some problems for that outside lane. Inside's lined up with those 4 tires. Unfortunately, I think the advantage for those 4 tires is all but gone at this point. Pace car down pit road. Reynolds with the lead. He'll be entering the restart zone now. And fires off very early. No one behind able to get much of an advantage. And Reynolds is going to have a very clear path towards clean air here in turn 1 with very little challenge behind.
Here's a chance for Fode. Stanley up the hill. Can he stay?
Hosak hard on the wall. Hard in the wall for Hosak.
Oh.
Who got a piece of him? I think Gore got a piece of him. Daniel Gore clobbered right into the side of Michael Hosak. Oh my goodness. Just when I was thinking about it, I was maybe Daniel Gore would be able to run forward with those 4 fresh tires. The answer to that was no. No, he would not be able to do that. And
now who is that?
So,
holy cow! Somebody came
it
in
was
there.
Gerald, maybe?
Possibly.
Somebody went flying into the wreck there.
Somebody was at a very high rate of speed considering they were running P last. Yeah, I believe that was our good friend Gerald Campbell that almost made that a lot worse than it needed to be. I'd love to know what his perspective was going into that wreck. You know what? He didn't have a lot of warning, I'll say it.
I think he actually did a pretty good job of not clobbering into somebody, all things considered.
Pretty heavily obstructed upon further review.
That's why you know the drivers jump on the voice chat as soon as something like that happens. Hey, saw this, that, and the other thing. And we took a couple looks at it.
That's why you look at the replay. That's why you look at the replay.
Couple looks at that. Gerald Campbell minimized the contact available in that wreck there. Chad got clipped by Gilberto.
I was asking who hit him, but I don't think anybody hit him until after he.
Right. He got clipped by Hosak's rear end going by.
Maybe netcode with 24, yeah.
And then Gilberto got him. That was it. Gilberto had it pinned against the wall. There wasn't a whole lot he could have done either.
Although we've also seen, I mean, this goes back to when this car first released, before they had the right amount of horsepower on it, before it was being used in real life. That left-right shimmy, this car really doesn't like it, and
right.
Obviously that was the motion he made trying to avoid that wreck, and usually that move to the right, I won't say usually, but it is not uncommon for it to upset the balance of this race car.
I think it's the lack of side force that's causing that wobble, right? When you normally in the other cars on the service, you get it a little sideways. The spoiler in the right rear fender catches the air and kind of turns you back towards straight. I think it's an adjustment those real life drivers have struggled with, but they've been able to make it. Our iRacing drivers who are not professionals are always going to struggle with that specific aspect because they have so much less side force than they run other races with other cars that have a lot of side force. So Blake Reynolds will still be the race leader. He is restarted very effectively of late. It's going to be difficult for those guys to get up there, catch him, and try to take this lead away. But they need green flag laps to do it, and we're dwindling on those. Going to be just 12 remaining by the time we get to the restart here. Just 22 minutes left in the session. We shouldn't have any issues, but if we start hitting green-white checkers, we might run up on the timer.
Well, that's not something we're used to talking about on Wednesday nights now, is it?
They usually give an extra hour. Chad only gave the race 2 hours, which I found curious. Would have been fine if we had gone green like we were originally doing, but all these yellows are starting to pile up. Pace car down pit road. Blake Reynolds and Ethan Stanley the front row. Tyler Fode's about as close as he's been in about 5 restarts. We'll see if the 40 car can make a move there from 4th. Restart zone. Good restart from Reynolds. Good restart from Tooker. Burrell spins him. Gable gets wrecking. Brent Jones around, and they pile up huge on the front straightaway. This race has gone right down the drain, man. My goodness. Daniel Gore involved. Tate Lytle involved. It started with Ethan Burrell in 5th. I think he just spun the tires.
Yeah.
And this completely blocked the track.
Yep.
I mean,
once
just
that car did the right hook. Yep.
Up to Burrell here, but I mean, I don't know if there's anything Burrell could have done. He spun him, and the guys behind just wadded him up. See if Dave, can we get another TV shot there where of the track kind of blocking? I think maybe following Tate or somebody from the rear.
Oh
my goodness. got hit up the track and clobbered Daniel Gore. Gable got clobbered. Abbott, Goodman, Gibson, Vandermarl, Holmes. All guys who we called out as being involved in wrecks already in this one. And Gibson
Well, I'll
got
tell you
shoved
one
into it.
thing. I was about to say, it's really hard to make the brakes work when the rear tires are not on the ground. I'd love to see from the outside Kurt Gibson's car at that
I think
point.
it was Seth Rawls that got into him. And Seth might even getting hit by a car behind.
Right. But you can see he's literally getting, we joke about the rear wheels getting picked up. No, they were quite literally a solid 4 or 5 feet off the ground. That is picking up the whole rear end of the race car. I noticed that from the onboard. I was like, he's looking at the ground a lot. Yeah, no, the brakes don't do a whole lot when you're in that situation. Oh, no. Yeah, no.
Chad Frankenfield always asks for the race winning picture. This is the photo right here. It's Kurt Gibson trying to brake with Seth Rawls' car underneath his and blasting into Ryan Gable. That's the photo for this race. Actually, it's not
the thumbnail if we get a quick shifts episode, even though Ray Brady isn't in this race.
Yeah. Oh my goodness! I will say I'm sure there's lots of extra content for Ray Bracey.
Oh my gosh.
Ethan Burrell. Ethan Burrell does get the tally, by the way.
Yeah, well, I don't know if obviously he's not racing, but I don't know if Ray Bracey has it in him to do a quick shifts from the Nashville Superspeedway. If there's any saving grace is that they have redesigned the restart zone here. It now has the Echo Park logos. So you can't confuse it with the Rackley War logos.
Oh man, you can't give Ray the slight, the catching, giving him the stray. He's not even here tonight. He's Ray's catching the strays on the broadcast. We're 11 cautions into this thing.
It's been a long night, man. It's been a long night. I didn't drink enough booze for this one.
Poor Bojo.
Poor Bojo.
There's only 16 cars about to restart this race.
It's starting to look like an IROC race.
We might have killed all the potential caution flags here. There might actually be a few green flag laps here to finish this thing out. Blake Reynolds has the race lead. David Tooker second, Ethan Stanley third, Tyler Fody fourth, Jonathan Cutlip fifth. Here we go. 8 laps to go at the line. Reynolds gets going. We're racing again.
Please stay green.
Let's try to finish this thing out into green. See if anybody's got anything for Blake.
Ooh, up the hill for Stanley. Did just leave room for Tooker.
Stanley able to try to get to that inside lane, but all this side-by-side battling is just allowing Blake Reynolds to drive away. Looks like Stanley will be clear of David Tooker for that second spot. So if there's anybody that can go get Blake Reynolds, it's probably this 91 car, but he's only got 7 or so laps to do it. Corner like that's not going to get you there either. He lost decently significant time to Blake Reynolds did Ethan Stanley.
Gable had DQ.
Ooh.
DQ'd?
He had a meatball and he didn't come in.
That'll do it every time.
Yep.
Burnt meatballs.
7 laps to go for Blake Reynolds. Stanley second, Tooker third. Fody trying to fight for the podium in fourth. Cutlip up to fifth. Garrison Hogan going by Ethan Burrell in the 6th spot. Matthew Weeks has had an eventful night. He's back into the top 10. Currently running 8th. Justin Wadsworth alongside him. And then, hey, how about Chad Frankenfield? Found enough pace. Found enough pace in this car to. There you go. Into Justin Wadsworth. And we have a yellow again, and Justin Wadsworth for the second time in roughly 4 weeks has been caught up in someone else's mess, it looked like. Yep, Ethan Burrell loose right in front of Wadsworth.
The back-to-back tallies?
Yeah, it is. Burrell will be parked.
Almost certainly, yeah.
a tough year for Burrell continues. He was on track for a solid top 10 finish. Justin Wadsworth was on track for a solid top 10 finish. He will likely not get that tonight. Though he won't fall that far down. Everybody back here is also
but
fixing
he was
damage.
he was already below the cut line. He needed a good points night to even make points a conversation, I believe. And I don't know if that's going to happen now. It's almost going to be a must-win situation for him at Phoenix or Richmond, I fear.
Richmond is a track he is pretty familiar with.
He's still showing 8th in the pylon right now,
and he didn't come down pit road.
He didn't come. Man, it's been one of those nights.
It probably won't that be that big of a deal for him.
We may have prematurely. Yeah, no, he might not be as bad off as we thought, as far as the points go.
I will say Justin Wadsworth's an 8th, as you mentioned. I just don't think 8th place points is going to do it for him. I think he probably need to be in the top 5.
Right.
But Ethan Burrell's second tally, he'll be parked.
As much as I love to complain when guys take an iRacing broadcast and make it a NASCAR podcast, we did see that this season in real life with this playoff format, right? Some of the guys that were the hottest the last 3 or 4 races of the season were guys that just didn't have enough of those playoff points in the round of 8 to move on. You know, a guy like a Christopher Bell, they needed a win because they had too big of a hole to dig, even with running well in those second race before the championship.
Yep. There's just too many good cars left, right? Yep. You know, there's 5. The top 5 is all guys who could point their way in. They were all very high into the cutoff line. Like any amount of trouble, even if it's just you got wrecked, now you have to finish back in the back end of the top 10, is going to be enough, right? For Justin Wadsworth. So it puts him in a must-win spot, but I have a bunch of guys there with him. I think Scott Crump, Daniel Gore, Seth Rawls are going to be there as well after this night. So you're only taking 4 guys to that final race. There's not enough space, I think, for all the speed that we have in this series, and somebody's going to get left out. Two guys who are going to go ahead.
3 to go on this restart?
Yes.
Start on 148? Yep.
Natural green, white checkered.
Well, green, white checkered.
Yes. 2 greens and then a white and then a checkered. It's hard to keep track at this point. There could be a million laps left. I wouldn't know.
20 cars.
I promise there's only 13 minutes of laps left. I know that much. 12 minutes.
Right. We're down to 12 minutes left in the session. It is getting dark here in Nashville.
We gotta make it to the honky tonk. We need to wrap this up.
Blake Reynolds, as the pace car comes off, will lead us towards the restart zone to get going again after our 11th caution of the race. 11th caution since lap 90. Green flag back out. Bad start for Stanley Reynolds with a great jump. It'll leave the 2 Toyotas behind him side by side. Meyer, Tyler Fody, and Jonathan Cutlip in traffic. Reynolds there, but here comes Stanley up the racetrack. Stanley's car just gets tight, and the yellow flag is out again.
You've got to be kidding me. I want to go to Tootsie's, guys.
I don't know who it is.
Oh, my goodness. Somebody got sideways. And I want to say it was what damaged car. Heard him sliding. It was Gerald Campbell.
Oh, there he is. Oh, another one of those quick hair trigger yellows from iRacing.
Yep.
Love that.
Might have been able to get to the end of this thing already if we hadn't had 3 or 4 of these. "12 cautions since lap 90 is something else, man. I'll tell you what.
Well, so here's where I would say we're in the green-white checkered portion of this event. 3 attempts at a green-white checkered. If there's a caution on the first lap, we'll re-rack, try it again. Once the white flag comes out, it's a race to the checkered flag. I don't know if we're going to get 3 attempts with the clock situation.
I think we've got 1 attempt for... I think we got 2 attempts. I think
I could see
if
two.
we had a caution, yeah.
I could see two. We definitely have one. We definitely have time for one.
Chad's really maximizing our night tonight. My goodness.
They know we're like 45 minutes from Broadway, right? Like we can't. we got a long drive even after this is over.
And Nashville is notorious for horrible parking. Nashville Superspeedway. Yeah, it took me 2 hours to get out of there.
You are spot on. It's no Kentucky Speedway when they first reopened the joint, but yeah.
Looking for something to talk about here. Got Jeff Green in the top 10. It's a good run for Jeff.
Hey, Nashville guy.
Nashville, yeah. Mm-hmm. Tennessee
he was
guy.
inducted this past weekend. Talking about the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway All-American 400 this past weekend, and he was inducted into the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway Hall of Fame. 1990 track champion at Nashville. Also won a Busch race there in, if I remember correctly, 1999. Because I'm pretty sure he was in the Kleenex car at the time. So, good run. Even if it is, we haven't talked about him a lot. It's been a battle of attrition, to say the least. But qualified, as we mentioned, back in 34th. Clearly the hard charger tonight. If he can hang on to this top 10 run, good showing in Tennessee for old Jeff Green.
Just behind him, you got Carlos Acosta having a strong run. Seth Rawls might be able to make something of this. He's up in 13th. And really a reasonably salvaged night for Seth Rawls. Would be a very adventurous way to get up to 13th for one of our playoff drivers there. I think Trey Holmes would probably take 14th. There's Daniel Gore trying to recover with that car got sent hard into the outside wall. I'm honestly surprised this car's still on the racetrack.
On the lead lap.
Yeah, it's still on the lap. He could still pick up spots theoretically.
Don't take me out, coach. I can still play.
All right, green white checker number 1. Blake Reynolds, David Tooker, Ethan Stanley, Tyler Fode, Jonathan Cutlip, Garrison Hogan, Matthew Weeks, and then a wounded Justin Wadsworth, the top 8. Pace car down pit road. Let's see if we can't settle this on this restart. Reynolds into the restart zone and now gets going. We are racing potentially for the final time. Fingers crossed. A good restart by Reynolds likely seals this one up, but Ethan Stanley, a really good run into turn 1. Can Ethan Stanley clear by Tooker and have a chance at the race win? He goes up the racetrack. So tight for Ethan Stanley.
Really lost a ton of ground. 3/10 back.
Yeah, there's Justin Wadsworth sent up the track. He slams the wall. He's going to lose a ton of spots. They're going to get the white flag, though. They do, but everybody's chasing Blake Reynolds. Reynolds is going to be cleaning away into the final 4. Jonathan Cutlip fighting Stanley for the 3rd spot. Weeks is up here in 4th. Where did he come from to get up here? Here comes Fode to the inside of Weeks.
Wide.
Tyler Fode might just send this thing. I don't think these two like each other very much. Here comes Fode and Weeks.
Oh,
Fode's going to spin it.
Loose.
Garrison Hogan as well. It will be Blake Reynolds, Jonathan Cutlip, Matthew Weeks, the top 3. Ethan Stanley 4th. David Tooker 5th. Jeff Green will come home P6. Frankenfield Acosta gets a top 10. Trey Holmes 9th and Vandermarl into 10th. Tyler Fode will finish 18th.
Wadsworth fell to 20th.
Yeah, wow.
Playoff implications for sure.
Well, I'll tell you, Zach, I think the interviews are going to be short tonight.
They're going to either be very short or very long. Either guys are going to have a lot to say about how
it's
this
going to
race
go black
played
here in a
out.
little while.
Yeah. My goodness. Blake Reynolds will go burn it down. Jonathan Cutlip and Matthew Weeks drove up to 2nd and 3rd. I don't know, man. We got Matthew Weeks in the waiting room. Let's just bring him in, get this thing started.
Yep.
Hey, Matthew Weeks, David in the booth. I would say that's a very normal P3 for you. I don't think you did anything eventful or had anything happen to you tonight, did you?
Yeah, I guess. I felt like I had the winning car, to be honest, this thing. Once that first long run we had, about 40 laps, and I kind of figured out and started catching Blake and Fody up there. I was like, oh man, I think I got some for these boys tonight. And then I tried to do something different, and it just didn't work out, but still salvaged what we did there. Good points day.
Certainly a good point, Stay. I mean, you touched on it a little bit there. It felt like that first half of the race was playing out like a Matthew Weeks kind of race with the long green flag run, and then obviously caution after caution there at the end. How frustrating was it to just, whether you were on the right strategy, wrong strategy, whatever, just not really get a chance to get any green flag laps there in the second half?
It was aggravating more, but I was already aggravated earlier in the race. I'm sure y'all heard, I was kind of mad at some guys. I don't get the same respect on the track. You know, if someone's faster than me, I let them go, and then I expect to get the same favor back when I catch you 20 laps in the run. But I didn't, and then I lost some time when I got loose at a Stanley battling there, and then we did that long run. We pitted, and when I come out, and Fody was only like 3 seconds ahead of me, and I had Blake was in front of me and Stanley was, and I was like, oh, we're set perfect. I was like, I'm going to stay right here. I'm going to save a little bit of fuel, keep it in fifth. I knew I was better on the long run than those guys. Even after that slide I had before we pit, I caught those guys back before we pitted. So I was like, oh, I'm in money position. And then we had those cautions, and it just ruined it. And then I went off the strategy and hoping we would get that long run, a last 40 lap run. And I'm like, dude, if it goes long and these tires can come into play, oh, it's going to be money. And we just kept getting those cautions, and I was getting more aggravated and getting caught. I got caught with Tate's thing because he drove super hard and smacked the wall and killed us, and I thought my night was done right there. And luckily we only had 50 seconds, and I fixed probably about 40 seconds of it and just sent it the rest of the way.
Well, Matthew, this doesn't quite lock you in, but it really puts you in a good spot going towards next week. You're going to be one of the top points getters out of this race. With Richmond and Phoenix, the next two tracks, are you confident you can get back into the finale there at Chicagoland?
Yeah, I feel good at Phoenix. I actually did an NIS race knowing that we were going to race there, and I had a blast doing it, figure some things out, and then, what was the other track again? Richmond. I like Richmond. I know Crump's going to be hard to beat there, but if I can qualify good and we get some long runs, I feel like I could probably have a good day there as well. So these are some pretty good tracks for me. I feel confident enough that we can make that Chicago race, and then once we get there, dude, if we get a long run there with a full distance race, I feel like this is like sitting pretty in our house right here if we can get those long runs.
Well, before we let you go, Matthew, who do you have to thank on this third place finish tonight?
Shout out, Betty, who's watching. She's a big fan of the Pro Edge guys, always watches all the race, so shout out to her. All the Pro Edge guys. Unlucky for Ethan tonight. He had one of those bad nights that one of those racers, as racers never want to have, and we get him sometimes, and I feel bad for him and for what happened, and hopefully, it doesn't hit him so strong and he comes back good next week and he runs good because, we all love Ethan, and Tucker was strong. He made those two tires work better than I thought they would, so shout out to him. And sucks for Trey. I know he got caught in a wreck late, but he's qualified good. Needs to work on his mid pace. I think if he drives a little bit harder early in the run, I think he'll be way better shape instead of racing some of them. Once you get back there in the back, it gets crazy. So, and hopefully I get him to speed up some and start driving a little bit harder early in the run. Shout out to my buddy Justin Vandermeer at JV Designs, who paints these schemes, all my schemes. And then my buddy John Cullup, he finished second night. JD Designs, he paints all kinds of schemes in here as well. So those are two of the best guys I know that paint schemes on the sim. So hit them up, get you something nice made. You guys in the booth, Chad, all the sponsors, everyone for the first half of the race. It was fun. The second half, but hopefully we can get that cleaned up. And that's about it.
Gotcha. Well, congrats on P3, Matthew, and good luck the rest of the way.
All right, man. Thank you. Yeah, have a good one.
Now let's bring up P2, Jonathan Cutlip, and talk to the runner-up finisher in this one. And Jonathan, an eventful night but maybe not for you. Seemed like you were in front of all the chaos. Take us through what was an awfully chaotic night.
Yeah, we were still involved in some of it. It was still a pretty chaotic night for us, unfortunately. I didn't get a good qualifying lap. I missed everything coming to the green, 1 and 2, 3 and 4, and ended up starting midway through the field. But it's just super tough to pass in this car now. Like you'll be quicker than somebody by a few tenths, and then you just end up in the wake of somebody, and you just can't really do a whole lot. You just kind of hope for their mistake or just momentum shift, or just hopefully the tires change enough to where you can make up the difference. But we weren't really dropping any speed tonight, and then just the track was cooling off and grips going up, and it's just getting worse and worse. So it was pretty much a track position battle the entire night.
You know, Jonathan, I feel like tonight kind of demonstrates why you're in the position you're in. Maybe you haven't had as many of the wins as some of these other playoff guys, but you've had just as many of the top fives, the top tens, the strong runs. You pick up the second place tonight. Definitely a good points position going into Phoenix and Richmond. How do you feel going into these next two races?
I love Phoenix and Richmond. They're some of my favorite tracks. You can move around a lot. Hopefully the conditions suit that. But yeah, it was a rough night for us tonight. I normally like Nashville. Again, the track position thing was huge. I couldn't really get it going. And yeah, midway through the race or like towards the end, I just going into turn 1, I had no grip on the tires and just completely wiped out one of my friends, Tate, and just yeah, it was pretty much on edge out of nowhere. It felt like you would have all the grip in the world, and then suddenly it would be completely gone and you're crashing. So it's kind of to the point where you're underdriving the car the entire time, and just hopefully you're right at the limit. Some people are just more comfortable pushing that limit more than others, and it shows. It's really hard to find a balance between managing the car and just trying to find pace in it. But yeah, it was definitely a solid night for us. Just minimize the damage, and luckily we came away with a P2.
Yeah, gotcha, Jonathan. And as you look forward towards the next couple rounds of the playoffs, obviously P2 helps out, but you're going to have to be awful clean in those races not to get any points penalties because of the tally tonight. So how does that change your approach going into places like Phoenix and Richmond where you can definitely get into somebody?
I'm not really too worried about it. I feel like I'm fairly clean. Debating it is like a complete mistake tonight. I just unfortunately wiped the 56 out, and he was running well. Richmond and Phoenix, like I was saying, the lanes widen out pretty well. It should be good racing. I'm slightly worried because tonight was a little caution heavy. I'm hoping that's not the case for the next couple of weeks because they are good tracks to race on. It's just it's in everyone's hands. It's just you're hoping that it goes green, and hopefully things just work out in our favor.
And before we let you go, Jonathan, who you have to thank on this runner-up finish tonight?
Shout out to you guys over here in Elite. David Westergreen, and Zach Evans. You guys do a phenomenal job. Dave specifically is a great producer, always on top of everything. Shout out to RaceCPI. They've been great and developing me as a driver. And as far as like a Red Pro program, I'm really looking forward to that next year. Shout out to my mom. She's always super supportive. Hopefully she enjoyed the race tonight. And I know it stresses her out sometimes, just restart after restart. She's always on the edge of her seat. But yeah, hopefully we can ramp it up another notch in the next couple races.
Gotcha. Well, congrats, John, on P2 tonight, and I'm sure we'll see you next week.
Yeah, have a good night.
We'll grab race winner Blake Reynolds and bring him to the booth. And Blake, after all that, you become the first guy to lock yourself into the championship race to go out and defend your title. Take us through all those restarts and what you're able to do to hold those guys off.
Yeah, I'm happy to be locked in. A lot of pressure off there. Didn't quite have the points going into this round that I liked. So yeah, getting the win, obviously, very nice. However, I think it was like the first 90 laps of that race, fine, perfect. The car kind of drove ish. The dirty air was, realistic. And you couldn't really do much. I tried to pass Fody there. And right when I got clear of him, we started lapping Mark. And it just completely, washed away my car. And Fody got to the outside again. So I lost it. And then he ended up winning the stage. But then it kind of became a fuel strat race. I don't know if y'all picked up on that. Fody pitted lap 62 or something, and I realized I could make it to 75 right at halfway. So I tried to extend it. I ended up going to 76, I think, but I could have gone to the end.
That was something we were keeping an eye on, and I think we had even heard that was a possibility going in. And I kind of made the comment with David before the race that almost saving the tires usually helps you save the fuel at this track, but then we got into the race. It seemed like it kind of plateaued, right? That high 30s, low 31s mark from lap 20 on into a run. Is that kind of what you felt in the car, or did it still get harder to drive as you got longer into the run?
It was almost like you had to drive the car like you were, driving a train. You couldn't let it slide at all. If you just took care of it, and I guess just kept it, no lateral load, it would just run the same lap time over and over again. But if you overstepped it, usually, you overstep it, your tires just slow down. I don't think that would have even happened. I think you just crashed. You saw how many people were just crashing. It just super unbalanced setup. It just was not good. And then the conditions for the weather just was not good. It got better on that long run. After we pitted, I came out on the fresh tires and it handled great just because that rubber was nice and hot and sticky. But, those restarts, man, even when I was out front there getting away from Tooker and Stanley, I almost bottled it a couple times just getting into 3 when we did get into 3.
And Blake, obviously the next 2 races kind of mean less for you because you are locked into that final race, but take me through kind of the strategy to see what you can't do. Maybe who your favorite 3 you'd like to race against for the championship would be among those playoff drivers that are remaining.
Well, I think the deserving ones like Stanley, Fody's kind of come on late in the season. Who else is in there? Cutlip, obviously. I don't know. We'll see. I think, in the middle of the season, I would have said Crump over Fody, but I think it's Fody, and I think Stanley and Cutlip are just the obvious other ones. You never know. One of these Pro Edge guys could sneak in, and obviously, there's only 2 races to win, so it's going to be a guy in points, so we'll see how that goes. What are the next 2 races, if you don't mind me asking? I know the finale is
Phoenix and Richmond.
Phoenix and Richmond. Flat tracks. I'd say good tire model. I haven't really tried it in a bit on this one. Phoenix is fun in this car. I usually find you can kind of go wherever you want, unlike real life. And then Richmond, that's a fun one. I like that one. We'll see how that is. That's also setup dependent and tire model dependent. We'll just have to see how it goes, man. I think there's a build coming up with iRacing. I don't know how that's going to fit into our schedule. And I know the finale's at Chicagoland. It's going to be a custom setup, probably. So we'll see how that goes. I'm just happy to be locked in after a long last half of that race. That was a little exhausting just to ride around there.
And before we let go, Blake, who do you have to thank on this win tonight?
Track Racer Simulation. They've been supporting us all season, me and Garrison. Drink Machine Works, Channel 199, Sim Racing, Racecraft Academy. JD Designs for painting my cars. You guys for putting this on. Chad and the admin team. My competitors for treating me good. It didn't really get dirty out there at the front. That was pretty good. So I'll see y'all next week at Phoenix.
Sounds good. Thanks, Blake. We'll catch you then.
See y'all.
That was the Nashville 200. I'll just close this down since we're already running long, but what a night, what a performance from Blake Reynolds. We'll see him in the championship race in 3 weeks' time at Chicagoland. Fingers crossed the next couple races won't be like those last 60 laps, but the first 90 were pretty good tonight, so hopefully we'll see more racing like that. But from all of us here at Elite Racing Network, that was the Belly Up Sports Cup Series Nashville 200. We'll catch you guys next week.